Well, hello there and hello there. Hi, everybody on Facebook. Hi to my lovelies on Instagram. I'm Donna Hoffman, and we are back with you on a Tuesday, 4 p.m. Eastern. We are here. They call me the interior design advocate because I'm one of the leading design coaches that empowers you to gorgeously up-level the results that you are getting working on your own nest, your own home. I am here on a mission to help you as a design advocate to wipe out the ugly room, the disappointing room, the rooms that fall flat, the ideas that are falling flat. Doesn't matter what your design style is. The online courses that I teach are all about the right strategies, the winning strategies, design hacks, as well as strategies to complete a project, either facelifting a project, facelifting a room, or starting a room from scratch, or doing a great window treatment. That's one of our newer courses that we've just put out as well. It isn't available to the public yet. We did a beautiful live event on it, and I'm still working with those students on it. It's really great. So every Tuesday here at 4 p.m. Eastern, we stop what we're doing at our luxury design company here in the Philadelphia region of the United States. And we like to come out and talk to you and see how you are and teach a lesson about design and take your questions on that lesson as well. And I see all kinds of hellos and welcomes coming in. So it's good to be with you, and I'm helloing, waving back to you. So today, sorry, I'm so amped up on nose spray right now and hoping I can get through this without a cough drop. We're going to be talking about how to reinvent a piece of artwork that you already own with framing. Now, I'm not talking about reinventing that, cute piece you picked up at Home Goods. Don't put the money into that. Just put that baby up on the wall and let it look gorgeous. I'm talking about something that maybe you splurged on a few years ago, or maybe you bought it when you were traveling on vacation, or maybe you and your hubs splurged on your very first fabulous piece of artwork, or maybe you inherited something from a family member and you think that it's maybe not perfect or ideal in a room. Well, possibly by reinventing it with framing and matting, possibly you can totally change it up. It's amazing what a game changer reframing can be. In fact, so much so that when we do our line item budget projections on projects, we'll even include a line that's all about art reframing if there's something that we really feel could be improved. And it's not just about improving it. Sometimes you can make things look more important and larger. And I will be taking your questions live about this topic. So let's talk about the its and bits of framing and matting. First of all, what never gets matted? Well, oil paintings don't get matted, and that includes something done in an oil or an acrylic. That would not get matted. Those do have something that sits between the image and the frame called a liner, and it almost looks like a linen wrapping. And it just puts a little bit of, design air or design breather between the image and the frame. But matting, when I talk about matting, I'm talking about what looks like a flat paper mat. So what never gets matted? Oils and acrylics. There is different schools of thought on black and white art photography, that should not be matted. I've seen it done. I've seen people who hate doing it. If I'm doing the photo wall, pardon me, I definitely will do some matting. But for the most part, it's the oils and the canvases that don't get matted. But other than that, watercolors and posters and photography of the family, art photography, these are anything that's in a flat glass paneled pane of something that can have matting. So with the matting, before we even talk about framing, you can use matting to actually make an image more important, make it a little bit bigger. Usually your mat size is about 3 inches on either side or all sides around an image. So let's say you have an image that's 20 inches wide. Well, you have 3.5 inches of mat on one side, 3.5 inches on the other side. Before you even pop a frame on that, you're now already, 7 inches larger in terms of your width. Kind of nice. Now, can you push that and go a little bit wider on your matting? You can. You can get a little artsy and do a 4-inch, 5-inch, but just be careful unless you are trying to make an actual statement by over matting something to really kind of do an interesting gallery wall, perhaps with a couple of over matted pieces, meaning slightly larger mats. You can even take the image and make it off center in a mat. when you're over matting like that, and maybe hang two of them, two companion pieces near, side by side. But just be careful, that's a slightly more advanced thing. So with matting, size is generally about 3.5 inches around your image. Now, what color mat do you do? Do you do color? Well, generally speaking, better galleries, if you want that high-end look, and that's what everybody wants, generally speaking, you're not throwing color in those mats. Usually the matting is some sort of neutral, whether it's a white, a cream, a gray, a tan, a linen-y sand color. And usually you would select that color based upon not only the image that you are framing and matting, but also consider the wall color that it's going to be resting on. Do you want the mat to be lighter or the same color as your wall color? If you want it to be very close, by all means, bring that wall color paint chip with you. I often do that when I'm reframing, just so I'm aware of what my undertones are. Be really careful when you're picking your framing and matting that you're looking at that matting up off the table. You go to a frame store, and you're looking at everything on a table flat. Color changes when you lift it to the horizontal plane, to the vertical plane off the horizontal plane. So make sure you're checking that color well. Now, can you do a statement color in a mat? You can. It's not, when it's done, again, it's done as a statement, and it's generally not done really pricey artwork. It's about the art. So that's why you don't see colorful matting on those kinds of pieces. But could you, let's say you've got some great botanicals and you're doing a gallery wall, and maybe you're having those botanicals, they're in a cool blue and white kind of something. And maybe you want to do a blue matting, and to do this really cool graphic looking, mid-tone blue and a navy with silver frames or white frames at your beach house. Why not? Sounds good. So you can get a little jiggy with your matting, but generally speaking, again, that matting's more in the neutral tones, and you consider what looks well with the colors in the image that you're framing and matting, and then what's happening around it, on the wall around it. The other thing I want you to think about is, do you want that mat to lift off the wall? For example, maybe you have a really pretty gray wall, and you want to do something with a white matting and a white frame in a double or triple of something hung on that wall, so it really lifts off that gray. So think about what you want the mat to do, and of course the mat should enhance the art piece. And then I want you to know there's another thing you could do with matting, which is just a glass mat. No color to it. Oh my gosh, we just did this in a wickedly glammy glam, gorgeous woman's a really stunning master bathroom for her. And this wonderful woman had some great portraits done, photography portraits done. And I said, you know what, Tracy, if we turn these into black and whites and blow them up, so we made them like 20 inches long by about 16 wide, or 12 wide, 14 wide, I think 20 by 14. And then we had glass, it was floating in glass, 3 inches all the way around that image. And then we got to these wonderful pewtery looking frames. Oh my gosh. So your wall color bleeds through that glass mat, and that becomes another statement. Really, really striking to do on certain watercolors, certain posters, certain prints, photography. Really cool thing to do. All right, just a little hack for you. So again, I will be taking your questions live about art and reframing and how to reinvent something. If you have an art question, but something else I want to teach on this lesson first, let's get to the frame. So you're going to bring your piece to the frame store. They'll pop it out of your existing frame. Let them do it. It'll be easier to start selecting mats and frames to reuse or to reapply. Now for the frame itself, oh my gosh, frames can be anything from little skinny itty bitty, 1/2 inch things to these wonderful, 3.5 inch, 4.5 inch wide frames. So talk about being able to really reinvent and totally change the vibe and the feeling of a piece of art that you already own. It's massive. It's a massive game changer. People are always amazed at how gorgeously improved their art can become and totally refreshed. It feels like you have something completely new when it's been reframed. Now, the frames can vary, right? There are black lacquers to wood stains to painted distressed down whites to silver tone frames and every manner of, high gloss silver to soft, pewters, and then of course all the pale golds, and then that's just color. And then you've got to think about the style of the frame, the profile of the frame. Is it traditional? Is it modern? Is it transitional? So lots of interesting things you can do with the frame. I don't necessarily match the frames in one room, but in terms of color, but I try to make sure they're in conversation with one another, right? And certainly stylistically needs to work with the room's design as well as the piece itself. Now, what never gets framed? Well, I don't want to use the word never, but often doesn't get framed. Usually, if you have something called a gallery wrap. Do you know what that is? That's when a painted image or something printed on canvas, when it wraps around the edges of the canvas, so it looks like the image is spilling over, that does not need to be framed, and that can just be hung on the wall or leaned on a piece of furniture. It's a very kind of hip and edgier and more relaxed, casual kind of look. So it's kind of exciting to do even in a more formal room, right? Adding those nice counterpoints and tension points. It's such a nice thing to do in design, the unexpected. So abstracts that are perhaps, you know, gallery wrapped or something that you picked up as a printed image online, gallery wrapped, that does not need to be framed. Now, some people don't like what gallery wrapping looks like, so do know that you can take something that is gallery wrapped and then you could frame it, or you could do something on a modern, like a more abstract piece. You can do something called a floating edge frame. It's gonna be hard for me to describe it to you. I would need to have you with me in a classroom to show it to you, or in a framer, but just picture that beyond, if this is your image, the floating, if my palm is the image here, that the floating frame, it looks like there's a little breath, a little space, and then the frame starts, and that's it. It's just a very, like, almost like an outline of the image itself. So kind of cool. So think about the mat, think about the frame, take it to a frame store, and if they'll let you, pop down your credit card and say, listen, can I please sign out these 3 mats and these 3 frames? I'd like to take this home and take a look at, you know, at these in my home. And remember, definitely make sure that you're popping everything up into that vertical position so you can see things. Okay, so Katie's telling me there are questions coming up. Are gallery walls out? Mary wants to know that. Mary, that's a great question. The gallery wall is not a new phenomenon. It's really a cool phenomenon. I think it's a great artifice to use, or a great device to use, I should say. I wouldn't shy away from them. I wouldn't do one in every room. I wouldn't do it all over your home. And I'd vary what you have. So for example, in a 100-year-old home that we're working on, in this really charming living room, we did these botanicals in a foursome, 1, 2, 3, 4 above a sofa. And then above a piano in an adjoining room, an upright piano, we had a pair of something hanging. So I didn't do another foursome, right? You don't want to just keep repeating yourself. And then somewhere else in the home, in one of those rooms, we've got this giant oversized mirror. So there's just this one big piece throwing a lot of weight. The beauty of a gallery wall, Mary, is that you take smaller pieces, you put them together to create the visual weight of something larger and something more important. I am just talking with my hands. Do I always do this? Do I just talk with my hand like this? He's saying she thinks it's a good thing that I talk with my hands. It's like I don't think without my hands. I'm getting self-conscious here about the whole hand waving thing. But anyway, sorry guys. So Mary, I hope I answered you. Do you see them more and more around Instagram? You do. We designers, we've been doing them forever. So it's just that Instagram has opened up a whole world of design to everyone, because now it's like this. It's right in your fingertips, right on your phone in your 9 square. So you get to see so much more, so much faster. But it's not like they're a new invention, okay? They're just gaining in popularity. Alrighty, so I'm going to take questions now. Questions have started, so I'm going to see what Facebook has to say. Stacy is saying she hopes I feel a little better. I am feeling better, Stacy. Thank you so much. Kelly Hughes is saying hello, and she's new to my lives. Kelly, it's so good that you're here. And by the way, Kelly, if you've missed any of the live today or any of the other ones, you can head to our YouTube channel. I don't know if you guys know that. You can not only see the great video content we put out, but we're now posting all of our Facebook lives. And I think we went back and what did we do, like a whole bunch of them? We organized everything into an archive. It sounds so official and exciting. Whew, I'm impressed. Anyway, Kelly, good to have you. I'm so glad you're here. I usually sound a little better than this, Kelly. Sue is saying, hi, I'm from Florida. You look great. Hope you're feeling better. Thank you, Sue. I appreciate that. Wish I was in Florida with you. We could have I could have a vodka fume and you could drink whatever it is you're drinking. I'm going for an acupuncture appointment after this, so hopefully that'll just knock everything back into shape. But if not, there's always the vodka fume later. Do you guys know what my vodka fume drink is? Steve makes fun of me. It's diet, it's sugar-free tonic. And I like a little bit of a vodka flavor, but not heavy. I literally put a capful. It's like, I measured it out. It's really a tablespoon of vodka and then 2 squirts of lime. It's so good, so refreshing. Anyway, not a lot of vodka. So Stephen calls it a vodka fume. We can call that my new drink. Sandra's saying hi from Maryland. Getting a lot of hellos. Central Florida's with us. Okay, we got a lot of hellos happening. That is good. Hugs and hellos to everyone. Lots of waves happening on my sweet Instagrammers. Love you guys too. More questions coming. Off-topic question. I don't normally take off-topic questions when I'm being tough, but I'm so amped up on cold medicine right now. I'll do whatever you guys want. Off topic, I don't like the ceiling in my rental. What can I do? Not a lot. You're in a rental. So unless you're allowed to paint it, and I'm guessing that the reason you don't like your ceiling, Lainey, is that, if I'm saying your name right, I hope I am. I'm guessing you have a popcorn ceiling, which that's when it looks all bumpy on the top, and those are actually really low cost for builders to just pop in. They literally blow them out, you know, this gunk just blows up onto that ceiling, and it's a lot less work than doing drywall and skimming it down and sanding it and perfecting it. That's why it's done in a lot of rentals. So sanding those, a lot of work, a lot of expense. So people who end up in homeowner positions with these popcorn ceilings often will not do anything about them because of cost. And rather than sanding them down, sometimes they just actually, you know, like build down and just re-drywall on something fresh, so they don't even have to go through the sanding thing. So I'm afraid that there's not a lot you can do. The only thing you can do in a rental anytime is paint if the landlord would allow, and then of course sometimes they'll give you a provision, they allow it, but then hey, you've got to repaint before you move out. So what I say is do gorgeousness everywhere else that you can, in your furnishings, your rugs, your accessories. Check out one of our courses at the Interior Design Advocate. If you don't know how to do a room from scratch, or if you just want to facelift something, there are 2 great courses I have online that are really doing amazing things for women. So Lainey, maybe you want to check that out. So if everything else in your room is beautiful, your apartment is beautiful, maybe you won't see that ceiling quite as much. All right, so hopefully that helps you. Any other questions that you guys have about art, hanging art, proportion of art, reframing art, feel free to pop those in. And if not, I will take an early goodbye and get a little earlier start to my acupuncture appointment. While I'm giving you an opportunity to get that in, any questions, last call for questions. I do want to let you know what we're talking about next week. Back by popular demand, drum roll, we're going to do another segment on how to wisely shop for a sofa, and I'm going to broaden it into upholstery, because I got to tell you, so how to wisely shop for a sofa or upholstery. We'll do that as the title. Katie, let it be known, I've just changed the title a little bit. We got to let the whole team know. It's a whole thing if I change the title. Katie doesn't bother Katie, but I bother other team members when I do that. Anyway, I was visiting a lovely woman today as in a meeting, a potential client, and I sat down at her kitchen, and I know she's in a real pickle. She had a real problem with the prior design team that didn't deliver what she had expected or hoped. And anyway, long story short, I sit in this chair, and I didn't realize it was one of the new pieces of furniture she had purchased. And I said, "Ooh," I said, "is there an issue with this chair?" She said, "No, we just bought those from," and I said, "Oh." She said, "They're very uncomfortable, aren't they?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "I think you have kind of a quality issue." She said, "Well, they're really, I don't understand why we have that." She said, they were not cheap chairs. And I looked at them and I kind of had an idea what they might have cost. I said, "I'm sure, you know, you spent hard-earned dollar on them. You know, can you tell me what did you spend on them?" She said, $200 a chair. I said, "Well, honestly, to be frank, that's not a lot of, $200 is a lot of money. It's just not a lot of money to spend on a dining chair." I said, "And that's why this seat cushion has absolutely almost no fill, and it's a very well-known catalog brand that's super popular." I'm going to give away one thing I'm going to tell you next week. Be careful when you're shopping at the entry level price point. You gotta be real careful because you don't get anything for less in the furniture world. You get something less for less. And that, unfortunately, 6 chairs times the $200, that was, she already wants to replace them. It's $1,200 down the paper shredder toilet of design. Hate when that happens. Question coming, artwork for bathroom suggestions. Mary is asking that. That's a great question, Mary. Mary, here's what I don't want you to do in a bathroom. Do not do anything that doesn't like water. For example, don't do watercolors. I would be very careful about that. I don't think you should do pricey artwork in a bathroom that gets a lot of moisture. I have some, handsome pieces that Stephen and I have collected through the years. One would look so great in the guest bath upstairs. I won't put it there because I know as a watercolor, could be putting it in harm's way. So I would look at more bridge price point kinds of things in terms of, what you're putting in there. But in a powder room or guest bath that is not getting a lot of moisture, you could do an acrylic or an oil if you wanted, but certainly things behind glass, good ideas. And in terms of subject matter, I say just go for it. Do something beautiful. Give your guests something beautiful to look at. Give yourself something beautiful to look at. It is so wonderful to treat yourself to beautiful art on your walls, but it also makes a huge impact in your rooms. A client I met with this week was thinking that the bedroom that she had tried to kind of cobble together herself wasn't really working, and she was right. She hadn't been through one of my courses, nor had she hired a designer, and her artwork placement was really off, and the proportion of what she was hanging and where she was hanging it was really off as well. If you want more information about that sort of thing, what to hang where, what's good in a bathroom, what's not good in a bathroom, I'd love to invite you to take a look at our course, Design CPR, Creating Perfect Rooms. I should have just called it How to Accessorize Like a Boss. It's all about accessorization, artwork, how to really whip a room together amazingly with the art accessories, pillows if they're there as well. Plus a couple of other little sleight of hand things having to do with furniture arrangement, but it's really primarily around accessorization, and artwork is part of that. So hopefully that helps you a little, Mary. And if you have a more specific question, feel free. Last 2 questions. I'm getting all these official high-tech notes from Katie. Last 2 questions. Feel free to put those in. It's time now to bring out the high-tech sign. Hey, Facebook, if you're not following us on Instagram, what up, girl? We are at decorating.genius on Instagram. That's at decorating.genius. I know you guys are already following us at decorating.genius, which is why you're here with us now. But I'll tell you this, if you wanted to, brilliant Instagrammers, if you wanted to see what we're up to at our design studio, you could follow us at IDH Designs. I should know this by now. At IDH Designs is the handle for our design studios Instagram, and you can see a little bit more about what inspires us as designers, what we're working on in projects, and that sort of thing. All right, Katie's telling me to scroll down, woman. Scroll down. I'm scrolling. Oh, look at this. Oh, a lot of stuff happening. Joyce Ray wants to know, I have a really cute picture of my dog, but I don't care for the background. Is there a way I can erase the background and frame the cuteness of my baby? Ow, cheapers. Oh, I don't, Katie, what do you think? I mean, that's like a lot of photo editing. That sounds like photo editing to me. Joyce, I think maybe you could get rid of some of the background by covering up some of it with the mat, but I don't think you can, do like a cutout of your dog there. But maybe you can reduce it. Like, let's say he's against or she's against a brick wall and you're not into the brick wall. You could do kind of some interesting oversized matting and then just cut in closer to your pup. But you can't like airbrush out the whole thing.
Ask a frame store if they could have
Ask
photo editing.
a frame store if they, let's say it again.
Photo editing.
Ask a frame store if they have some photo editing services. Try that. That was a good suggestion, Katie. I like it. So hopefully one of those works for you there, Joyce. Joanne is saying, I've been lucky to purchase art that is framed from local artists. Joanne, I love that you're supporting local artists. Guys, support local artists. It's a great way to have something, with an original, beautiful essence and vibration and energy in your home. It's not another mass-produced thing. Love your home goods, but it gives you an opportunity to have something a little bit more signature. It's a great way to support somebody who does some beautiful, creative, blah, blah in the world. So Joanne is saying that she's purchased art from local artists in similar scale and color frames. I usually go to local art museums and art centers. Where do I look for art? Oh, that's a good question. I like to support local artists with different art auctions that I see advertised in various cities. There's one in Alexandria I love going to at the Torpedo Factory. It's usually right around President's Day. I'm giving you one of my secrets here. That's how much I love you. Google the Torpedo Factory in Alexandria, Virginia. They have an annual patrons fundraiser. It is the coolest thing. $250 entitles you to a piece of art in an auction. And basically the auction is they put your name in a big drum, they roll it through the drum, we reach their hand in, they pull it out, and they call your name, and you stand up and go, piece number 702, and then the whole audience goes, oh, because they want the 702. And you might think, well, what are the odds of my getting what I want? There are 500 pieces of art that go in this fundraiser. Better than you think, because if you're looking at, let's say, landscapes, you're not competing against me. If you're looking at abstracts, you are competing against me. So everybody from folk art to landscapes to portraiture to mixed media, there's so many different things there. So I think that's a great way to really amp up, charcoals. I mean, you name it. Amp up your original artwork. I think you can also go to estate sales. I think you can go to flea markets, look past the framing. Very often the framing is awful. And sometimes too, even in a gallery that you love the artwork, or with Joanne's, favorite artist, usually people who are selling the art, they don't put a lot of money into the framing. They want to, watch the profit margin. So try to look past the frame. And if you don't want to put money into reframing a piece, maybe you can just paint the existing frame if that will help. Anyway, Joanne, think flea markets, local art galleries, craft shows, you can look there as well. See if there are art leagues in your town or near you that have local artists that are showing their works. A beautiful piece by a local artist might be a couple $100. I'm not talking about something that has to be thousands and thousands of dollars. If you live in a major city or near a major city, you can also look for street fairs. Look to see what the street artists are showing. I've got an amazing piece hanging over my desk here. If you follow our Instagram on at IDH Designs, I think you may have seen it. It's an Elizabeth Taylor, looks like an Andy Warhol. Great street artist in Manhattan. I was running to an appointment, went, ooh, I like your stuff, I'll be back. And not only picked up a piece for our studio, but we put a gorgeous Maya Angelou of his in, in a client's home. So I think there are so many ways to do affordable artwork. I will warn you, the art piece may be a couple $100. Reframing it could be equal to that. So I just warn you that framing is where some of the dollar cost comes as well. So hopefully those suggestions will help you, Joanne. That's a great question. And I'm glad you asked it. And I think we should turn this into a blog post. I think where to find, if you want to kind of break out a little bit. So there you go. All right, last call on questions. Katie, tell me we're last call on questions. Nothing else on Facebook. Looks like we got nothing else here on Instagram. Hi, Don. I see one of my old clients watching me right now. Don, great to see you. You look good. I like your shoes. And that's it. Is that it, Katie?
That's it.
That's it, peeps. All right, so listen, dolls and gentlemen, dolls and Don. Definitely want to see you back here next Tuesday, 4 p.m. Eastern. We are going to put a pin in it for now. But every Tuesday, 4 p.m., we stop what we're doing. We get back here so we can talk to you, take you under our wing, teach you about a great concept or some great content. And we love taking your questions live. So listen, loves, great seeing you. I'll see you next week. Have a great rest of your week.